This Pocono Raceway weekend update and recap and all that other good stuff. The edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by our Patreon. Score exclusive perks and content available only to our patrons at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Yes, indeed. We are doing it live. It is, of course, the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. We're bringing back John Ginder one more time because he was our man on the ground in Pocono. Had to bring him back to share his awesome day. And then, of course, Cody having a fantastic weekend as well over there in Iowa. Not only did he get to watch the races, but he got to hang out with a couple of our buddies, and I'm a little jealous of you, Cody. I hope you had a great weekend while I got to watch it all on TV.
I did. I had a lot of fun. Man, it was great. Fastest short track on the planet is no joke. It really, really is so freaking fast. Those cars get around there at amazing speeds. Absolutely incredible to watch. And yeah, it was a great time. 2 races too, which was nice. Having the doubleheader there. So a lot of fun.
A lot of fun, but John also had a lot of fun over there in the tricky triangle in Pocono. I understand, John, that you are a few shades redder than you entered the Long Pond area on Friday.
Yeah, when you were introducing Cody, I was like, you were saying I'm Rod and or this is Cody. I was gonna be like, and I'm sunburned, but that was gonna be my whole thing about you. You ruined it. But if Cody had fun this week and I had more fun, so I think that was probably top. What did the kids say? A core memory? We'll go with that. I think. But I got a lot, so everybody should buckle in because good times this weekend.
Ty Tiger, was that Hamlin in the intro? I'll wreck your mom to win a championship. Obviously not Denny Hamlin because he doesn't have a championship, doesn't know how to win one, nor does he want to win one. So not Hamlin for sure.
Can we start? Can we just start there with Hamlin then? I mean,
that's a pretty good intro, right?
Yeah,
and that's the thing too with Hamlin obviously winning. We talked about it in the betting show as far as who was going to win this. It would be Hamlin. Would it be Busch? I mean, I told you that we'll go over the bets later. Anyways, I told you to take the Quinella because I didn't know. Obviously I said it was going to be one of them. I just didn't know which one it was going to be. But I didn't think Busch was going to suck that bad. John, you were there. You got to witness everything up close and personal. What was that last stretch like in there actually in the state in the raceway?
So in my mind, if we're going to right when Priest spun out, you kind of heard everybody stand up and it just that collective excitement because of what everybody thought was coming. And I remember sitting there, I'm like, and they didn't throw it right away. And I was like, this is going to be something either way. And then obviously we all know that they didn't throw it. I'm not probably as mad about it as Cody was sounding off about it, because I read some of the explanations and I can at least understand it, right? Like, hey, this is a longer track. You couldn't get around. But
I get that part of it.
Yeah,
I understand.
My issue is, if it's a caution, if you were going to throw it, then it's a caution from the get-go.
Yes.
If you didn't throw it, then as bad as this sounds, it's not like it was a wreck. He spun out. So we don't have to rush anything out there, because they were hoping he got up to speed. So if they were hoping he got up to speed, we're not worried about injuries, right? We're not worried about, so then just don't throw it at all.
And so my thing too, when I saw the spin, and obviously we all did it, we all sat there and waited. We were like, okay, and listen, because we have been conditioned now over the last, I don't know, couple of years, that as soon as a car goes any other direction than straight forward, that yellow goes, right? And they didn't throw it. And I said, well, good. They're going to let this thing go. I was like, finally, we don't have a green-white checker. We don't have another overtime. This is going to fly. And then, of course, but still.
Yeah, because what changed? I guess my thing is, what changed between them not throwing it and then deciding to throw it? It was
you can't race. You can't come racing back around when he's still sitting there. That's the problem. Rod, you do the ad read, because I got a lot to say.
Yeah, I don't know if he was moving. I don't know.
I will say this though. Yes. And I know Kelly
searching for profit, something like that.
Profit.
Maybe. I'm trying to associate these names.
You're right. Hamlin 1200 was a great sniper shot indeed. So we'll definitely take that. But yes, you're right, Cody. We do have to step out real quick just to take a quick break and tell you about our Patreon. Listen, do your part in the war against corporate gambling. Sign up now for the SGPN Patreon. You're going to get a ton of exclusive content, contests, and merch, all for you, our patrons. We love each and every one of you. This is a way to even support us even more. Plus, a monthly SGPN Stories podcast, an ad-free, uncensored show highlights. You got to love that. We've gotten a lot of those around here, and the mothership definitely has their fair share as well. You're going to get highlighted the best stories from decades of being DGens, even a Discord channel, another one just for patrons. Sports Gambling Podcast Patron is a great way to score exclusive perks and support the SGPN. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Patreon to get in on the action. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Patreon. Hey, maybe we do a special. Oh, well, maybe that's where we take the underdog picks over to Patreon, right?
Oh, there you go. Okay, so Tiger here
man.
says, didn't they throw it right away with Larson spinning? What's the difference early versus the last one? Larson was near the front of the field, so that's a big difference. But so here's the thing that I have the issue with. He spins, right? And they have to make that decision quickly, because we're coming to take the white flag. And if you take the white flag, the next flag is going to end it. And NASCAR, first of all, has trained us to have the quick trigger, right? So we're just expecting it anyways. A car goes spinning, they immediately hit the caution, especially when it's that close to hitting the last lap. They say that they want to do everything they can to have a race end under caution or under green. But if there's a car spinning, whether you think he's going to get going or not, if he doesn't get going, you're going to have to throw the caution before he gets back around. Then it's at the discretion of, okay, when do we throw the caution? Had there been a battle, right? Had Reddick been coming up to pass Hamlin? When do you hit what's the too close to getting to that car that spun out? Like, you're just leaving way too much out there of unknowns. There's a car spun. Let's rack it back up. The excitement of overtime finishes. Sure, we've hated on it at some points because it's burned us in our bets, right? But it is exciting. It changes it up, right? It keeps things going. Like, why, when at every other time, and I understand the long track thing, and we saw it with Harvick at Atlanta, right? They let him spin. He was limping along on the apron, a little different there. They were racing, it is a big track. Everybody's in one big pack, so they had time before they got back around. They're racing against the rain. If there was a caution, might not have been able to get the race restarted. So all that makes sense. It's a different scenario, but I don't understand why, if you're so quick to the button always, and then this time, why are you going to let it go when if he doesn't get going, you're going to have to end it under caution, which you supposedly say you want to try not to do. I don't understand.
And I'm with you, right? Like, I'm with err on the side of caution. But here's my biggest takeaway, I think, from this. When I was standing and you asked me what the vibe was, and I'll follow up on the vibe after the finish, right? But my vibe for me, after spending a weekend there and, having a little background working there and when I was in college, knowing a lot of my friends, that the worst part for me was I sat there, or I guess I stood there, and it was like, man, this was such a great weekend for the sport of NASCAR, the fans, the crowd. And literally look at what we spent the first, what are we up, over 10 minutes talking about? The final, right? Like, that literally, like, as that was my thought. If you want raw, what I was thinking right there is like, this is going to suck for everybody involved. This was a good race. There was good crowds. It was just all in all, it was a great weekend. Everybody was having fun. Like, I had a buddy that was up there and he was like, man, everybody was just so nice. Everybody was talking to each other. Like, it was so cool to have that you get, right? And I think Pocono does it better than anybody.
Well, we had just great elements throughout the whole race too, of everything. There was the battles all day long. There was, nobody ever was really running away with it. There was different cars up front at different times. You get the strategy that Pocono is Pocono more than anywhere is known for the strategy at the end and the fuel mileage. And we had the end of the stage 2, like his Larson, he's trying to go down on the or up, to try and splash the gas around. Like
Austin Hill was like, I know not everybody, we didn't get really much out from press conferences and media availability, but like Austin Hill was probably spent 4 minutes talking about moving different strategies he was doing, and I didn't understand about trying to get all the tank gas into the bottom right corner of the tank. Like,
well, yeah, you probably didn't hear because you couldn't hear the TV, but yeah, they were talking about it's all fed up on the right side of the rear, because when the cars are going fast, right, the fuel is going to flow up that way, and so when they're going slow under caution, Larson is basically trying to swish that bucket around to get the fuel to jump up in and get picked up. And so, yeah, I thought all that was great. And I think Dale Jr., his tweet was perfect. And I know you retweeted it, Gindy, but he said, I know there's been a lot of opinions about moments, but damn, how good has the racing past several weeks been? NASCAR's alive and well. Then he puts in quotes, the Ric Flair woo. And like, that is such a good, we have had so much good racing the last few weeks. New Hampshire, I thought it was great because we hit our 30-1 bet, of course. You could say, you could make arguments it was a little more of a boring race, but Atlanta was a great race. Chicago Street Course was great. We've had so many great races here lately. And it's been there's so many, again, this weekend, like there was points you could have made throughout the race for 5 or 6 different guys to have won this race. Like there was never one guy dominating it. And there's so much parity right now and so much, it makes it hard to bet on outrights because it's like so many you can make a case for so many guys to win this race.
Joy almost won the race at one point, right?
That's right. I was hoping you would turn on a sprinkler or something.
Well, going back to Truex, too, you're talking about like New Hampshire, but I think that's what's been so fun for this stretch of right? We had Atlanta. Anybody could win. Everybody was just flying, passing. New Hampshire plays its purpose, right? It's fun to have somebody really stick up the show every once in a while. You need that to enjoy all the other stuff, and it's cool to see when somebody just knocks it out of the park. Their crew, this setup. And in Pocono, you might have not had as many people in contention like at Atlanta, but I think you really saw the top tier of what they're able to do and what makes them top tier at Pocono this weekend. So, like, I'm definitely with my boy Junior. I mean, NASCAR's back. I said that I was driving in with a buddy Sunday morning, and the traffic, like I've never seen it. We were up there at 8:00 and we were already hitting traffic. And I was like, this is madness. My dad came up 3.5 hours later and they already turned traffic around that normally don't do until the race is about to start, like moving different people. It was.
Yeah, the pictures were insane of the whole weekend. Like that place was so.
I don't know if you saw the comparison from like 2019.
Yeah, from 2010 But
I mean, I know that it takes me a while to get out of Sonoma anyways, but yeah, when you leave Sonoma, California traffic's already junky as it is, but like you add that race into it, it is crazy. I want to take a quick second to thank Eric Harris here. He says, been watching for a few months now. I appreciate you guys taking the time to do what you do. Had Barry and Truex this week. heartbreaking. Lost last minute on
Jeez.
both. No big winner on
That's rough.
SVG.
Hopefully you
that's-
didn't have Corey Heim in the trucks too.
Well,
Jesus
If it
Christ.
makes, I was going to say, if it
Hey, I
makes
told
Eric,
you about that.
if it makes Eric feel any better, Austin Hill did thank JRM for pushing him to the win in his presser, which I'll tell you what, segueing into getting to be on that side of it and not seeing the clips. You just see these little clips here and there, but getting to see the half an hour, the 45-minute conversations, the driver available. Like, I think, oh man, whatever. Hot take John here. Here we go. I think we're being done a disservice not getting to see the duration of that stuff. And we all need to stop consuming the clips. And I can get into more why I say that, but like really hearing and being there to hear the whole conversations, a lot of different things I'm seeing now that I'm catching up since I was there all weekend. I think a lot of it's taken out of context. And
of course.
I left.
That's how this works, John.
This one's going to make a lot of people mad. I left Sunday. I am now a Denny Hamlin fan, and I'll get on my soapbox. I'll fight any of you.
You're not alone,
not
though.
literally. Like,
not
Dude,
alone.
he makes it so hard to hate him.
but
I
like
even
just
like the
listening to
guy
him
now.
for 45 minutes, answering the questions, honestly, no fluff. Also telling certain members when they were of the media when they were trying to ask questions, like, you're trying to put something that's not there. Like, he said that, like, when they were really this whole Larson and he's like, nope, you're trying to make this something it isn't. This was just racing for the win. And I don't care. Take who was involved out of it. Hamlin talked about it all. This, how everybody reacts matters. Who's involved. And like, it was very clear to me now, because if you flip those things, that everybody's cheering. Hey, I really don't think he did anything wrong. Like,
Yeah, and listen, that's the thing too about when you're in. That's why press access is not as easy to get as everybody wants it to be, is because they want to control the narrative. And when you're sitting in there in the press conference, you do get to listen to all the dumb questions that get asked about.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not
There are.
going at it.
Believe me, there
Yeah,
are.
but no. See, for me, I don't think there was any dumb questions. What I think the problem is, we're looking for 30-second hits.
Oh yeah,
But,
the
like,
narrative
the
gets shaped through the
45
questions.
minutes is what really, like, hearing the questions and Hamlin explaining a lot the thoughts that went into it. Like, and just I'll tell you what, he's very witty. I don't know, like, I always thought he was witty, but he's really witty. Somebody said, like, how do you feel being at Pocono with 6 wins? And he goes 7 because of the tape last year.
Oh yeah.
And on Sunday, the same guy asked him a question, and Denny looked at him and said, well, do I have 7 wins or 8 wins now? And like, I was just shocked that, like, Denny Hamlin might be the most real NASCAR driver on the circuit.
Yeah.
And
hit the ad, Rod. I know you're itching over there, but
I know, gotta do it, man. I gotta hit it. If this was television, we'd already been yanked off by now, but we're not. It's Underdog Fantasy. We're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. NFL season is right around the corner. Underdog Pick'em is a great way to get down on a ton of NFL player props, and it's available in a ton of markets. Plus, we talk about it here all the time. You can win all of your favorite MLB contests, and of course, make sure to enter Best Ball Mania 4. First place gets $1 million. Head over now to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN. You get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. People ask me, what's it like to be a host of a podcast, Rod? I say, I have to wrestle my co-hosts every time to get the ad breaks in on time.
You should just hold up a sign, like a little sign that says.
That's what the button's
5 minutes.
for. Next time
Like,
we just. There we go. Now John's muted.
Yeah, I don't do that.
All right, let's catch up. Let's catch up on the comment section. Eric did say he had hosts of our in the truck, so at least that one was over early, and he didn't have to.
I forgot that guy. I didn't see that guy all
heartbreak. Derek, what's up, Derek? He's in the comments. Derek Yoder. Ty was asking if he was at Pocono too. Derek was there with his daughters and his wife as well. That looked like a fun family day. Kelly says number 11 is a cuck in Xfinity. He was close. I was ready to take him off the list, and he couldn't beat Riley fucking Herbst, you piece of shit. You're on the no name saying list. And Eric says he's not mad at Denny. He's mad the race ended early. Same. Probably wouldn't have mattered. I think Reddick would have had something for him, which I didn't have Reddick anyways, but I was hoping to get Truex another chance after his crew chief fucked him over on the stupid.
I think.
Why are you taking tires on a track where tires literally don't matter? What a fucking idiot. Like, Truex was gone, man. Ugh, I'm so mad. If he would have kept the track position, he would have won. But
I think if we get the finish that we wanted or that some people wanted, I thought like Harvick might have. He was coming. I think he might have just, the narrative was there, the story was there. But Rod, I want to go back to something you did ask about. You said what was the vibe like, and we haven't really addressed what the vibe was like when Hamlin crossed the finish line. Right?
You booing, John? You were booing. I know.
No, I was
all the
standing
number
there.
11
So
fans.
yeah, so I'll tell you, I was standing, and then as soon as he went, I mean, I have never. I cannot tell you how loud and collective.
You could hear it on TV. You could hear how loud it was.
It was insane. And then, so you're quoting about the 11s that Hamlin just sent out, which again just shows how funny he is. The guy that's running down was directly across from me. I saw that guy making a beeline, like down, like I'm on obviously the pit side, but I saw him running down the bleachers, and I was like, he was storming. I was like, man, here comes a beer can. Like, and that was the vibe you got. You started seeing people running, and I'm like, all right, there's going to be some stuff coming. And I think there was. I didn't see much from where I was. Maybe you guys.
They said on the broadcast that there was a few projectiles.
Yeah.
Entering
Look,
the track.
I'll be honest with you. As somebody who was born and raised in the Pocono, I was like, that's Pocono, and I wouldn't want it any other way. Like, you don't throw shit, but like, I like the rowdiness. I really do. I'm trying to think of like. There's so much I could talk. I met the governor of Pennsylvania, just on a side note.
Oh, nice.
He happened to be there. Like, that was, for me, that was really cool. My dad worked for the state for 35 years. So, like, state government's always been important. Y'all know I met Frankie Muniz.
Yeah. Yeah. Our boys at In Between Media did too. They got himself a nice little interview with them too. So congrats to Seth and Elliott for breaking that one. That was pretty cool. But
I think they actually were standing right in front of me, being newer to this. But did one of them go to Rutgers? Do you guys know? Because if it was the two guys that were in front of me doing an interview, they were phenomenal with the questions they were asking Frankie Muniz.
Then it must have been them. Because
if it was phenomenal, then
yeah.
Kelly said Harvick was going to fuck everyone up. He's plus 800 this week. I'm not saying that I'm going to pick him, but I'm saying you might want to get that bet in early. He's going to fuck some people up this week.
And the opposite roar. So Kyle Busch, that pass. Man, that place exploded when and I was shocked because, people still don't like Kyle. But I think if it was anybody making the pass that they did, they're probably going to roar. But it was loud on both sides. The Xfinity race was kind of,
well, let's get there, but let's do this. We'll intertwine all of our stories in the recaps.
Yep.
So let's do it this way. So let's start with the Cup race since we're already talking about it. Obviously, we didn't hit nearly as many as we'd like, but again, that didn't mean the race wasn't all that good. Cody, what did you start out with?
Yeah, so I started out with William Byron over Christopher Bell. Second week in a row of William Byron fast at the beginning, running up front. You're like, all right, here we go. And then he just disappears. I have no idea where he went. I have no idea what happened to him. He ended up in 14th, which was okay, but Christopher Bell, one of those fast Joe Gibbs Toyotas, all four of them in the top 6. Shout out to my guy, Ty Gibbs, getting his first career top 5. So unfortunately, this one didn't hit. I don't know, man. Bell has just been getting consistent finishes. I think he's third place in the point standings. Like, he's just not the strongest car every week, but continues to get good finishes. And Byron just keeps falling off. I don't know if they're trying things, starting to look out for the playoffs or what's going on, but whatever the hell they're doing, it's not working. So unfortunately, didn't hit this one.
Listen, strategy had everything to do with all of these finishes at this point because everybody was trying something completely different. There was 2 tires. There was no tires. There was all kinds of crazy stuff. I think Byron ended up being a victim of just a late strategy call that didn't really pan out for him. So unfortunately, like you said, but Bell hung with it. He faded early and charged back up toward the field. So yeah, definitely a tough one. Eric Jones, baby, top 10 finish. Plus 550 on Bet365. We said it, man, and it may not have looked at all like it was going to happen. But again, strategy calls being what they are at Pocono, Eric Jones and that 43 team, They made the right call. And I will tell you to go over to In Between Media's YouTube channel because they did actually, Seth did get a question with Eric Jones. And here's what I love about it. So, Seth says, hey, man, Eric Jones, top 10, fantastic day for you guys. You wanted to do this, all this stuff. And Eric Jones says, yeah, but we didn't want a top 10. We were after something much better. He's like, we're glad that we got it, but he's like, you can't be happy with top 10s all the time. And I was like, all right, then.
They should be. They should probably be happy with top 10s.
I was going to say,
Gregson looked pretty good too.
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, Legacy actually showed up with some speed this week, which is interesting. Again, obviously they're going to be going through that transition, but yeah, man, shout out to you with the call on Eric Jones. I kind of poo-pooed on it a little bit when you gave it out. Said he's not with Joe Gibbs anymore, but great call by you. That's just as good as hitting an outright, right? A plus 550, great bet. I know that there was plenty of guys following in the Discord. Ty Tiger said that name is making him crawl up the wall.
Sorry,
Eric
Ty.
Jones is on his do not say his name list. Sorry,
Yes.
Ty.
If Eric Jones would have won at Talladega last year, I'd been $1,100 richer. So, I'm right there with you. Trust me.
Me too. Oh, man, that was rough.
Yeah.
I had Martin Truex, top 5, minus 120. Probably the easiest bet on the weekend. Again, he was just fucking good all day. Should have won that race. His crew chief fucked him over with the call there late, I think. But, oh well, he ends up in third, so that easily cashes the top 5. That's 120. Didn't really have to pay up for it. And you got that insurance on him not winning.
What was Truex like at the race, John?
I would say he seems pretty relaxed. I think he likes it up there, There was a lot of guys I thought just being a little bit closer. A lot of them seemed, I don't want to say in bad moods. You could tell who was loose that day and who wasn't. Like, for example, walking by Chase, I think a little bit on Sunday, he just didn't seem relaxed. I think with where he qualified.
I wouldn't be relaxed if I was him right now either.
But looking at that, then I was like, okay. And then you could see other guys that were really standing in the driver's meeting. There was a couple things that stood out to me. I'm very an anxious person by nature, and my leg is constantly moving. I could tell you which drivers are anxious like me because you could see which one's like Logano was really close to me. I knew he was ready to go. You could tell, and I'm sure being in a driver's meeting for guys like Logano and all them who have been in this sport forever, it was like, here's where the choose line is, and I was that's the equivalent of the car is going to come out here. The pace car is going to enter here. I was like, I think they know this. So but that's what I was thinking, that Logano could not wait to get out of there. So I was like, okay, he's got a rocket ship and he's focused, and he had a rocket ship until he needed a tow truck.
I was going to say, we're going to hook you up to a tow truck here. You're going to get mad at us for doing too slow.
Yeah. If you haven't heard that in-car audio, go to the Discord.
That's not, I don't know if I've ever really heard him
that's
that.
Well, I mean, you're in the heat of the moment and he knows he's losing time. He's watching the cars drive by. Their laps are ticking away. It's going to take time to get him hooked up, pull him back. And he was fast, right? He was really good early on. He won stage 1, I think.
Yeah, he won stage 1.
So, I mean, he was good. He was fast. Yeah. Rod, you had Kevin Harvick, top 5, plus 220.
Hell yeah, I did. Kevin Harvick, top 5, plus 220. Hit that one. He finished 4th place. This one, though, too, this one took strategy to get him. I mean, he started 4th, but, faded back for the most part. He wasn't even in the top 10 in either one of the ends of the stages. So, this car kind of fell back and fell out of strategy. But, boy, you got to hand it to Kevin Harvick and that team finding him back up into the top 4. We didn't even say really, I mean, we did say that a top 10 was a lock, but we liked his top 5 odds a little more because it gave you a little more value. And for God's sakes, there it is. Top 5 for Kevin Harvick. I love it. Top 4 even for Kevin Harvick. So that was 2 pretty decent plus money bets right off the jump.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cody.
Go for it.
So say if we could have 2 winners that weekend, which you're never going to have 2 winners, obviously, I think Kevin Harvick easily wins Pocono weekend without having to win the race. I don't know how much you guys saw the fire suit. I had a feeling, I heard him say something on Saturday. Somebody asked him about the video they did about the fire suit and his daughter, and he said it's not done yet. And I was like, I think Sunday she's coming in a fire suit. I had a feeling. And then him, doing a nice thing for Logano. That friendship that they've developed over the years, I think it's pretty cool. The whole story, just his paint scheme too. I think I tweeted about it 3 times from the
orange.
account. Like that.
The peach color. Yeah.
But in person, it was.
Cooler, huh?
It's not
Yeah,
like
was...
when I say like hunter orange. It's not that. It's more of like when you think of like the peach Snapples or that little like not as dude, and it flowed.
Yeah.
So
I know it's cool. It's crazy because obviously like it's been long careers for both these guys, right? And to see like the young Kevin Harvick just married and Delano, all the stuff that was going on then, and Joey, young hothead, and now they're both older and Kevin's about to retire and they've got their families there taking a picture. Like it is pretty cool to see it kind of come all the way full circle.
Yeah, and I
this many years later.
I feel like as fans, like I feel like maybe we did Harvick a disservice over the years because we're all just real. Like I think he's always been like this, but he's kind of got lost in the shuffle of all what he brought to NASCAR, right? We always knew he was a good driver, but there's been so much more, the spokesperson, and you really saw that for me in person showcased in the respect and the people that are coming over to talk to him and media members, other teams that, hey, I just, in case I don't see you, and just people that were at Pocono, like he is very well respected. Like,
My brother knew that right from the jump. It was always been his favorite driver. So,
and I think we're going to continue to see that too, as like he's going to be in the Fox booth now. So we're going to get to continue to see that from Kevin. And Kelly, oh man, Blaney's car fucking him. It's just always something for that guy. I'm glad he got a win earlier this season, but he was fast, and then all of a sudden he wasn't. Obviously, that car. Did you hear that car on pit road at all, John? You can hear it on TV. It was rough.
Okay, so. Little peek under the hood, no pun intended. One of the hardest things for me all weekend was to try to get videos of pit stops because, like, I'm in the back there kind of blind. I don't really have the great reception on my phone, so I can't really, who's running low. So I was standing behind the front half, I would say, like, where Bell and Byron, and I'm like, all right. And I missed, like, 3 cars. Then they would all of a sudden pull off, and I'm like, I wasn't down there. So I just was like, all right, I'm going to stay here. And then all of a sudden, Blaney came in. I'm like, oh, heck yeah, I'm going to get this picture or the video. So I'm recording it. And then I'm like, man, this is really long. This is really long. And then all of a sudden, the car dies. So, yeah, the engine, I was standing literally right there when it happened. And same thing with Bell. I knew there was an act caution, but I wasn't even looking at the screens. I was glued into getting pictures and content, which segue. I don't know how people do that every weekend. I said to my one buddy that does PR, I've always had respect, but I have a whole new ball game because that is crazy what they do. I went down to Bell and I was like, oh yeah, Bell's coming in. Well, I didn't realize he had a flat tire. So there so I'm sorry, Kelly. It could have been my fault for standing behind the people that the pit boxes because they kept seeming to have all these issues. So
shout out to Nick Fortune too. Hello, gentlemen. Thanks for the bet suggestions. Appreciates them. Even my suggestions. Love you too. Gonna be in a fantasy football league with him this year, so I'll make him pay for that.
Hey, I know I wasn't on your betting show, but I would like to say I did have a good week. I had, besides betting, I had Ty Gibbs as my one pick for the year, nice. And the best I'm in first place in a league that I do with. You can use drivers once a month. So I finished you finished well in the league we're in. I saw a little bit ahead of me in the NFL. I was like 7th or 8th. I think I was like 11th and you were 7th. So not even just betting, but poking all around, I think was good to all of us.
I've had a rough year in that league.
Well, you're new. You're a rookie.
Yeah, I'm still figuring it out. But I did have Kyle Busch top 5, minus 110. Ugh, not Kyle Busch's day. He didn't start great, didn't run great. Just not the Kyle Busch of Pocono that we normally see.
So this is the frustrating part with Kyle Busch too, because I said when we were breaking things down, I was like, it was a rough last week for him. But before that, he pretty much ripped off a string of top 10 finishes, right? Little did I know that this is the beginning of a bad stretch for Kyle Busch. You think, he'll shake it off. It's Pocono. He's been on here before. He's been good here before. And no, he's not shaking it off. When Kyle gets in these Kyle moods, then it's tough to ride Kyle. And in fact, I had Busch over Larson, and I'll jump over one of mine, but I had Busch over Larson. And guess who finished one spot ahead of Kyle Busch? That was Kyle Larson. It was Kyle Larson, and that final push off, he didn't even sink farther back, and Kyle Busch did not beat him. You know what I'm saying? Like Kyle Larson fell all the way back and Busch was still not in a position where he could capitalize on that to win that head-to-head. It was crazy.
I was surprised, to be honest with you, because like talking about just being in, he seemed very relaxed all weekend. Like he seemed like he was in his zone. So I know he didn't get the qualifying, but I thought he would turn it around.
I thought so too.
Yeah, that was weird.
I want to answer this question real quick. Minus 150 is not for me. He says, do you guys ever, I love that name. Do you guys ever parlay a race winner with other bets to walk into the race with a better number? You know what? We've done that before. And we've
done it. I mean, even go back to last week in New Hampshire, right? We did it with races. We hit John Hunter in the first race. Then we got Martin Truex in the second one. And obviously it takes Truex's number from 7-1 to 30-1 by having both of them. So you can do it that way. Come NFL season, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to be building some fun parlays that are going to have NFL stuff. You throw the Thursday night game in there with the winner. So you got it going into the weekend. You can do, Sunday games. So they're going on at the same time. But I think that continuing to parlay winners with other things, throw Max Verstappen in your parlays. That's going to help. It's almost an automatic. You're going to hit it. And then it helps your other legs hit. But yeah, it's definitely, it's a fun thing to do, as we obviously learned last week at New Hampshire. Tried a couple different things this weekend, didn't quite hit, but yeah, it's definitely gives you such a better number that it makes it worth it for sure.
Yep. Derek says, sorry, didn't get a chance to connect while at the track, John, but he likes your work from what he saw on Twitter. We have to do that again.
Yes, if you were not following our Twitter this weekend, shame on you at NASCAR Gambling, but go check it out. Just scroll through it. Like, John got so many good things.
And we didn't even get it all,
pictures.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So and there's more. Yeah. There's interviews and stuff that
we'll put it up as it goes.
We'll keep putting some stuff up this week.
We'll relive Pocono.
And I mean, to be honest with you, I was on my A game with my puns this weekend, which is very rare.
Your puns
my Pocono, I am inside you, got a lot of love, and I'm very, very happy about that. So
I like this. Hold
at
on.
The same time,
okay, good. JDK popping in. Verstappen, Newgarden, KFB truck parlay paid plus 750 this weekend.
There you go. And Verstappen and Newgarden were,
blocks.
Yeah, free squares basically in that. And then KFB, God, if Pocono was only 2 turns instead of 3, we'll get into it. We'll get to the truck race.
I gave that out as my underdog one too. And when it happened, I was like, son of a. Like, all I remember saying is, man, all he has to do is finish second through the rest of the field. Well, he finished first. That was, I thought RCR was going to win on Sunday. Going in, they were sweeping the weekend up until that point. But, man, did they have a horrible weekend.
Yeah. It was bad. Thanks for joining us, minus 150. Definitely appreciate the like and the subscribe. That's what it's all about, man. That's why we do these live shows. We love it.
Listen, be like him, like and subscribe.
Yeah, we did. Be like minus 150.
Brush through them quick.
Crush through them.
Yeah. So I had Keselowski top 10 plus 140. Had its chances, maybe not. McDowell top 10, 8-1. Yeah, same thing. Kind of had its chances, didn't. Winners Truex plus 650. Heartbreaking. Byron 10-1. It's looked good for a while early in the race. Truex and Byron 1-2. I'm like, all right, here we go. Obviously, Byron fell off. Buescher 65-1. It was a long shot, but with the way that strategies and stuff kind of played out at the end, maybe things could have gone a little differently for him. Who knows? But 65-1, it is what it is.
Yeah, I had Brad over Bubba. Bubba actually looked pretty good in fits and spurts. Brad, like we said, he was running around up front, and then just, again, strategy just screwed so many of these good drivers over. I already told you about Busch over Larson. I had Michael McDowell, though, to winner Group F over Priest, Briscoe, and Cindric. Hey, man, that one came flying through at plus 265. Love that one. And then I had the Hamlin, Busch, Quinella, but again, that one could have taken either one of those outright and been okay with it. We tried to put them together and got cute. We had SRX bets. None of them hit. Paul Tracy got wrecked in the
dude, and we got so screwed. Tony Stewart over Brad Keselowski did hit, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it did.
But we got screwed on multiple of these. Just to touch on them quick, I had Priest over Newman plus 145. He was beating him most of the day. Then has the brake issues, ends up out of the race. At plus money, that was a good bet. I'm pretty sure Stewart over Brad did hit at minus 105. And then I had given out Priest to win at plus 450, which looked really good. Started on the pole, was fast up front. obviously had the issues, didn't win. And Andretti 15-1, he never really had a chance. But
I had Suarez at plus 700.
This one looked good too.
This one looked fantastic
Yes.
until Ryan Newman decided he wanted to figure out how to drive. Son of a
And
bitch.
you had Tracy over Deegan, which was cashing the entire night until
freaking
Tracy blew
Oh,
he blew a
Tracy's the
tire at the
worst.
end.
I can't believe y'all even would consider betting on
But
it.
he had it, and he had it the last.
It was the right call.
I don't know. I just don't. There's some guy I just don't care for Paul Tracy. I'm just screw it. I'll go for it. Yeah, I can't stand him.
All right, should we go to the trucks or the Xfinity first? What do we do?
Xfinity,
Work backwards.
We'll work backwards.
We'll work backwards. All right, the Xfinity race, a little better for you, a little worse for me on this one. Unfortunately. Oh wait, there we go. Yeah, it's about the same for both of us. I was on the truck tab. I was getting excited.
Yeah, I gotta find the Xfinity tab. Here we go.
So
okay.
yeah, for the Xfinity
yeah. So
race,
first up, I had John Hunter Nemechek top
Yeah.
3 plus 100. I did not, to be full transparency, being at the IndyCar races on Saturday, I did not catch the entirety of either of these races. I literally caught probably the last 10 minutes where I actually watched. So I didn't see the full things, but I don't even remember what happened to John Hunter. He did.
I was there and I didn't catch
You were
the
there.
entirety of the
30
races,
seconds.
so-
He finished 30 seconds. So yeah, I don't really know. I mean, he
No,
was third in both stages, so he was up front, and then
Yeah, he had an issue late in it and didn't have an opportunity to get back up through the front. So yeah, it was a pretty tough day for John Hunter. Obviously, strategy played a big deal in a lot of these as well, right? I mean, all these races, strategy played a huge part in it, considering the fact that we had Josh Berry up front, Cole Custer, Josh Berry, Justin Allgaier for a while, and then after the end of stage 2, all of a sudden it became Austin Hill, Riley Herbst, Brandon Jones. Yeah, it was on a restart.
Yeah, JDK said on a restart. Yeah, I must have
Fell
got
back.
caught up in it.
Yep, it was pretty bad. And then we had, Josh Berry leading 51 laps. He didn't win this race. Austin Hill did. So,
The wrecking 8 ball.
oh my God, it was bad. I had Hill as a top 5 car at plus 170. Obviously, that happened.
Austin Hill is a good bet every fucking week.
It was
He,
crazy because listening to him, he didn't think he had the best car. He didn't even.
he rarely does, but he just puts himself
Yeah,
in.
he
And
was-
that's why we love betting on him, because he's always going to be there at the end. He doesn't have to have the best car. He's going to be in position. He's very, very much like Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick, the closer, right? And that's been his reputation over the years, was he's going to put himself in position. He's going to be there at the end. He's going to close out the race. And Austin Hill is that version of the closer in the Xfinity Series right now. It's
and
insane.
listening to him in that, hearing him say how far he thinks they're off still.
And he's got 4 wins.
I'm not saying he's my pick for the championship. We're not there yet. And I'm not, I don't, but if you are that far off, you think, and you have 4 wins on this season,
Yeah.
you could potentially just go on a tear. And he talked about this was what he called the most important win so far for him, which I thought was this year was I thought was very interesting, because he said
it's a counter punch to what John Hunter Nemechek, because he'd won two races in a row, 2 or 3 even. I mean, he's been on fire. And they were talking. I remember that part of it now. I caught the broadcast talking about John Hunter Nemechek. He must have been leading. Is he the obvious favorite to win the championship? And they're like, well, yeah, look at it. And then Austin Hill comes around and wins the race. And then they're like, maybe he's not the obvious favorite to win this.
like
right?
talking strategy wise, and he said he thinks it was a complete one of the first times he put a complete race together. So like going forward betting wise, I think it's going to be worth really maybe even looking at the long term here. Austin Hill might be getting ready to get hot, because he still thinks they are so far off, which was
It's like Max
insane to me. And he was explaining about his car too. Like, he had a completely different setup than Creed. He flat out said it, which I couldn't even believe he was saying some of the stuff he said, because I thought he was giving some of the trade secrets away. But he was like, he likes his driving off his right rear. So he was talking about how free his car was, and he still wanted it freer. And it was just a lot of interesting things that makes me think he's really that team is set up to potentially make a run for this championship this year. I don't know what the odds are, but y'all might want to start looking at that.
It's like, like I said, it's like Max Verstappen when he complains about his car. He's like, oh, yeah, there's still some pace left in this car. It's like, shut up. You just beat the freaking field by 33 seconds. Of course there's still pace in your car. Shut up.
Yeah. I had number 11 to win Group B. So close to redeeming himself. He did beat Brandon Jones easily. He beat Parker Kligerman. He beat Ty Dillon. Riley Herbst, the one who got him. Again, I mean, number 11, 5th place, another good run by him. They really have something figured out there for sure. But Herbst ends up actually finishing a race and gets in 4th place. So props to him.
Weren't you guys surprised with the Cup guys that were in that field that we didn't see?
Not really.
Surprised. We weren't surprised.
Much, we talked about it on the betting show. We again, you always have to preface it with, if Chase Elliott dominates this and wins, it's not going to be that surprising. But we didn't think it was going to be that easy for him, and it was not easy for him. And then we didn't expect anything out of Ty Dillon. Runs 14th. That's about right where you figure. Who else was in the race?
I was more thinking Elliott and Suarez.
Yeah.
There.
Where did Suarez end?
I couldn't believe that they weren't even
10th. Yeah. But
even
Suarez,
in the mix, even for a little bit.
Yeah, Suarez though is not. He doesn't.
Trackhouse is in this.
Yeah, but
weird. I know it's not Trackhouse, but I'm saying Trackhouse is in this.
I was this close, Kelly. I was this close, and then he reminded me that he fucking sucks and I hate him.
Kelly says, "Don't start changing your tune on him, Cody. Don't do it. Don't do it." All right, my next bet was Allgaier as a top 3 car. Joey Gase is on my shit list at this point. I am not a fan of Gase.
Probably the only time you'll hear us talk about Joey Gase.
That's it. I'm done. I won't even bring his name up anymore. I don't care about it. I will never bet on Joey Gase. Taking the 7 car out, lap 81. But again, this was because of strategy. He was back in that area because of strategy. 51 laps. Josh Berry left, but Justin Allgaier was running in the top 3 at the end of stage 2. He won. Or he didn't win, but he was he led 8 laps in this race as well. Allgaier was there. He was one of the cars that was fighting for the top 5 the whole time and was in the top 3. But then, of course, did not keep it that way. And so, screw it. I'm pissed.
JDK did have number 11, top 5 plus 400.
Good job.
Congratulations to you. Joey Gase did beat John Hunter Nemechek and Cole Custer, so I guess props to him for that. I did have Cole Custer over Josh Berry 2 weeks in a row, man. And Berry did everything he could to not hit that at the end. Guy was just an absolute wrecking. It looked like when I put my daughter on the iRacing and she just is all over the freaking place, running into everything. Insane. But
that wreck, wreck at the end was rough.
Oh yeah, you were there. How was that?
So I was, I think in the media center where it happened, but I had my people out there working for me too. No, I had a buddy that was coming up and couldn't get through the tunnel until after the race, and which was right where he hit. And he said it was so loud, from the outside of the track, you couldn't imagine. And I remember seeing the angle he hit at. I was like, man, that was a shot. That was probably, I would say, second hardest of the weekend.
Yeah,
y'all, we skipped over in the Cup, but we didn't talk about probably the first hardest hit. Austin Hill absolutely destroyed his car. I have pictures. I tweeted one, I think, but inside the engine, you could see how bent. Those 2 hits were insane.
Got a good old fashioned Tony Stewart helmet throw out of Austin Dillon.
Well,
probably not the right.
If Tony Stewart would throw an underhand softball, maybe.
Well,
he
tried to bounce it into him. I don't know if he beer pong it. I don't know.
If you're gonna do that, and I'm all for doing that, you better hit and you better make it good.
You got to make it count, right? Especially as expensive as those helmets are. Come on.
It almost. I don't know who almost hit it, or somebody did.
Yeah, somebody almost ran over it.
I was like, then somebody should have got out and beat his ass.
Yeah.
Speaking of beat his ass, we didn't talk about your boy took a couple to the side of the head too, and at the end of the race, I didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
I had
Ryan Preece,
no idea that happened.
In Ryan Preece's defense, I would be upset if my car was that bad every week too. So I get it, but yeah, I don't even know what happened. I never saw if LaJoie is the one who spun him at the end there. But he was pissed. He got out of the car, went swinging at Corey. There was a lot of drama this weekend. You had the 11-5 thing obviously happening. You had the Priest LaJoy. You got Reddick and Dylan, former teammates.
Which I don't think that's over.
Bowman and Hamlin got into it too. Like, geez.
I told you before.
Well, Dylan flat out said he's going to wreck him. So
I told you before I left for this trip that if there was a brawl or anything like that, I was going to get it.
You did.
I am so mad because you want to know where I was after that race? Go and watch damn Race Hub from today.
Oh, yeah.
You'll see me standing in the back of Reddick, kind of just looking like I don't know what I'm doing. I was literally there because I was going to catch Austin coming flying out of nowhere and hitting the Superman punch. I trailed behind him. You could see there was a lot of different people that had the same school of thought I did, that Austin might have been there. But then I realized on the way home last night, they asked him I didn't know when he threw the helmet, NASCAR, they told him to leave the track. So I don't even think Austin was there.
Wow.
And I was like, so yeah, I'm really mad. Moral story is I'm furious that I missed the one punch in the head that I said I was going to find. So
that's funny.
Well,
Rod,
you had Suarez over Hill, minus 110. That one
I tried to tell you on this one.
You did, and I gave Suarez a little more credit, but I did say that even if Hill finishes inside the top 5, I thought Suarez could be better because I thought Suarez was going to win this race. So, it didn't hit.
Yeah, I had Custer top 5 plus 120. Again, got caught up there in the end, and it just didn't happen. I also threw out Connor Mosack top Toyota. That was kind of a long shot thing, right? 12-1. You were just kind of hoping something would happen. I mean, if you look at it, Heim ends up wrecked out of the race. John Hunter ends up in 32nd. Gralla in 25th. Sammy Smith was all the way up in 6th, but after that, Gralla in 25th was the next Toyota. So not a bad strategy. Obviously, Sammy ends up finishing the race, but if Gralla ends up being the first Toyota at 25th and Mosack just finishes the race normally without getting in that accident at the end, he could have easily cashed that. So I don't think it was a bad strategy, which obviously kind of went in with yours, which is the one that hit.
Yep, but I had Sam Smith over Sam Mayer. That did not hit. Obviously, Mayer found a way to drive and get in second place. It just pisses me off on that one. Whereas Sammy ended up in 6th.
Despite Barry trying to complete the JRM wrecking each other thing again.
JRM, that's the narrative, man. That's what we've built around it. But I did, yes, cash Sammy Smith, top Toyota, plus 425. That was a solid hit. That was pretty much like hitting an outright too as well. I'm still surprised that, I mean, we know John Hunter Nemechek was the reason why he's at plus 425, but exactly what we laid out, Cody, exactly what we laid out happened, and Sammy Smith resulted or benefited as a result.
Yeah, exactly. And that was exactly the case. Was John Hunter's probably going to be the best car, but if something happens, and boom, there you go. You had Smith, you had the Mosack insurance just in case. I took a page out of your playbook, took winning car number over 16.5. minus 130. I thought it was going to hit with John Hunter. It didn't, but it did hit with the 21 of Austin Hill.
Number over.
Yeah, close enough, right? 20, 21, same difference. Either way, it hits. I had also tossed out the Corey Haim parlay, winning the trucks plus the top 5 in Xfinity, 40 plus 41.75. Obviously, neither of those happened. We'll get into the Truck Series part of it, but suspension issues early in the Xfinity race, and he ends up in 37th.
Definitely tough. Outrights didn't hit either. I had Suarez 14-1. Nope. Didn't hit.
Yeah, John Hunter plus 500. Again, he's still the best car in the best driver in the field. I'm going to probably take that at 5-1 most weeks. Sammy Smith 25-1 ends up finishing in 6th, so he's at least in the conversation. And Sheldon Creed at 30-1, again 11th. But I'm going to continue to take these shots on these guys when they're this long of shots because the cars are good enough, the talent's good enough. Sammy has actually found victory lane. Sheldon hasn't yet, but I expect both of those guys to be in victory lane at some point in the near future.
Indeed. The Xfinity race kind of wrap up, I guess. John, was it as exciting on the ground as it was from our television screens?
Yeah, I think it was. Obviously, looking the whole weekend picture, it was probably the third, I would say, out of the 3. So I think it was the least exciting. I still think it was exciting. It still delivered. The finish was fun. I mean, everybody just walking around, just hearing, fans and everybody like, man, that was 2 great finishes. So I don't want to say like third, like it was this bad thing, but just the narratives, the other two, you know, we're going to get into the trucks, the milestones that surrounded the other two. It was just a normal, exciting race versus the other ones were exciting and milestones. So I think it was, but it delivered what we wanted, right? And I think I still can't believe. I mean, Josh Berry has the strongest car by a long shot that day, and I just I was in the media center, and you just collectively heard that gasp, like, oh, it's about to get real. So
yeah, I think you have to, as strong as he was, I think we have to keep fading Josh Berry because he cannot catch a break right now. Another strong week with another strong car.
He keeps making himself.
Well,
he sailed that one in, like,
he overshot. He just missed the corner. Then he tried to save it. Then he almost takes his teammate out. Then he ends up spinning. I mean, just the whole thing was just like, what? It was crazy.
All right, we'll talk about the truck race in a second. Cody has some fantastic stories that he'll fret another time. I don't think we don't have time to spend a lot of time talking about what this is. But
we can. Oh, you talk about IndyCar?
No, I'm talking about the show we're about to preview right now. You spent some time with the hosts.
Yes.
So
we'll talk about this later in the week. But
yeah, for sure. But yes, let's introduce you to one of our favorite shows on the network.
Hey, everybody. If you play fantasy football, especially in auction leagues,
or you're a whiskey fan.
Yes, exactly. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast Fantasy Football Channel show, Old Fashioned Football.
Coming to you every Tuesday morning. Give us a listen. We'll bring you the latest fantasy football data, including
the injury report,
studs and duds,
waiver wire targets,
and suggested fab.
Market movers. After all, we are the Marks.
He is my hubby.
And she's J Mark's wifey.
And we're bringing all this to you while drinking an old fashioned and giving you our honest review of a different whiskey every week.
All that and more. Hop on over, give us a listen, come for the football, stay for the whiskey.
This ad's almost done.
Going once, going twice.
Sold.
Yeah,
yes,
just a little
quickly,
bit. You did have, yeah.
Quickly, I did get to meet Justin and Miranda this weekend. They live in Des Moines, right near the track, Newton, Iowa, where I was at for the IndyCar race. So I got to meet up with them, have a couple of drinks. I've loved them. I've loved listening to them. Been on their show a couple times, talking with them, playing some leagues with them. Absolutely love them. Meeting them in person, just tenfold. They're just absolutely great people. We had an amazing time. So definitely check their show out. It's getting to be fantasy football time, and I'm pumped. I know you are too, John. We're in a couple of leagues together. Even that one league that we probably shouldn't talk about, but
oh yes, I haven't thought about that. I probably haven't checked.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, the one that you roped me into.
I roped him into a league, and I didn't know what we were getting into, but we'll have fun anyways.
There's something. I'll tell you what.
All right. Do we have to talk about the truck race?
We kind of have to talk about the truck race, and I'll say it only because it happened. And the CRC Brakleen 150, man, I tell you what, if there was 4 corners in this race,
there was only 2 corners, it would have been even better.
So yes, Kyle Busch does make the last second pass on Corey Heim.
He was just fun. He was fucking playing with him the whole time.
Oh, of course.
That's what I hate about it is if it would have ended 5 laps sooner, it would have been the same thing. Like, he was just waiting. He had it set up. He knew exactly what he was going to do. That was, as much as I hated it for my bet, the winning bet not cashing, I still cashed other bets in this race. It was actually a really good race. But, man, just like the veteran move, and just this is the guy who's won, 250 plus NASCAR top tier starts, or races that he's won, absolute legend of the sport.
100
that
for
was
KFB
him.
Or Kyle Busch Motorsports.
Yep, 100 wins for Kyle Busch Motorsports. He hits it. His last Truck Series start of the year, everything about it. It was great to see, and it was awesome. Sucked from the betting side because we were so fucking close to hitting Corey Heim again, but that's okay. We did hit him top 5 plus 150. That was free money. Obviously, he finishes in second and easily hits that one, Rod. And while we're at it, I had him to win Group G plus 300 over Zane, Bell, and Hocevar. My argument when I placed this bet was this is a way to get on Corey Heim and still cash a good plus money bet if Kyle Busch beats him, because Kyle Busch is the only one out there who can beat him. And that's exactly what happened.
Hey, we had these races wired as far as what was going to happen. So, unfortunately, some of the bets fell short of the expectations. But, I mean, we had the races cased. We knew what was going to happen in the races. Unfortunately, you can't always translate that to what's going to happen with the drivers. Tyler Ankrum did not finish inside the top 5, so it doesn't matter what his odds were. We had 700, maybe 1,200 that somebody posted.
Yeah. Remember, they weren't posted when he was the only one not on the list when we recorded.
They knew something.
Maybe 700. It ended up being 1,200, which is posted in the Discord. So again, you should be in there. I want to say JDK maybe posted that. Whoever it was, shout out to you. But yeah, unfortunately, didn't hit, but wasn't.
He was 12.
Necessarily a bad call. I mean, 12th. He wasn't too far out. The other Hattori truck finished in the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Christopher Bell was in that truck, but still, it wasn't for the odds you got it at, especially at 12-1. Even at 7-1, I wouldn't have hated it. So I think it was still a good bet. I had Carson Hocevar top 5 plus 125. All I know is that Hocevar was out of this. Well, where did he end up finishing?
Hocevar, he actually was running. He was running at the end of it. Yeah, he actually did.
For some reason, I remember him just not even really being in competition. I don't know what happened.
In the beginning of the show, when somebody said that they had Hocevar, I literally didn't see him the whole weekend. I didn't see his truck at all.
He's the tallest driver.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think he was absent the whole weekend.
No, he started 4th, and he just was one of those cars that was trying different strategies and trying to do different things, and like it just didn't seem like he was in.
No stage points on the day. Ends up 11th. Just kind of missed on this one, unfortunately.
Like I said, I think he did an early pit. I think he came in early. He was one of those trucks that came in early, and or either stayed out. I'm honestly, there was so much racing I watched this weekend that I can't remember exactly what happened to Carson Hocevar, but I know he didn't finish well.
I mean, who were we to ever doubt Kyle Busch? Like, I think that's just the takeaway. Like, we were all that was my pick in an opposite way. It was like, hey, let's just fade him. He's not going to win.
I didn't fade him. I picked him.
Well, nobody asked you. I was talking more about me and Cody, right? Like, that was, I think, the thing we probably felt pretty. I don't know about you, Cody. I don't want to speak for you. I felt pretty certain. I felt pretty good about that. Just all we needed him to do was not finish in first. That was it.
Yeah.
And he's just good. Like,
we just needed
literally looked like he had an extra gear in that move. Like,
he did, and it's 100 years and a billion races of experience.
It's not even that. Dude, he just took off like out of nowhere.
Because he knows that track so good. He's done it so many times there in all the series. Like, everything about it is just that shows you the difference in 21-year-old Corey Heim, who's still a Truck Series second-year guy, first full-time season, and a guy that's been to victory lane in the NASCAR series 200-plus times. Like, that's the difference right there.
Kelly says we have to focus more on live odds in stage 1. Can get really good numbers. I feel like, you know what? Yeah, that's the thing.
I feel like I suck at live betting. I don't think I've ever hit a live bet in a
race. Our Discord doesn't suck at it.
Our Discord is great. I needed to just tell. Well, man, being in a legal betting state this weekend was so many fucking options. Nebraska, just fucking wake the fuck up, Jesus.
Is there a lot of cornfields around the field? Just out of curiosity,
the race. There's literally the track is like the interstate is there, and then it's just cornfields for miles.
I do have to say I am so disappointed in our little Slack chat that you were talking about being there with Carrie Underwood and all this, and then you said Kenny Chesney was coming on, and I literally wrote, does he think the podcast is sexy? And it was just crickets in there. So like, I feel the need to say, hey, I wasn't like actually saying the podcast is sexy. Like, Kenny Chesney has a song.
That's not Kenny Chesney's song though. Are you thinking about My Tractor Sexy?
Yeah, 110% Kenny Chesney.
That's not. No, that's like Jason Aldean, isn't it?
Yeah. What do you want bet?
Let's ask our friend Google.
Ask your friend music.
Talk, Rod.
Do you think My Tractor Sexy? Are you guys looking it up right now?
Yes.
All right, it is.
He's always staring at me while I'm chugging.
It is Kenny Chesney. Damn, I guess you know better than I.
Sit it down. You were.
All right, let's get back to
the. We don't need to get off track on. There was great music this weekend in Iowa. That was cool.
I was jealous of that.
I'm not see Ed Sheeran and all that, but
I was so jealous.
All right, Rod.
We haven't lost. All right, for me, I had Austin Hill as a top 5 truck. Boy, that one got wrecked out quickly. I was 51 laps, and Austin Hill was no more. So
they were talking about him. The one of the little parts of the broadcast I caught that he had like 5 top 5s in a row or something in the Truck Series of Pocono. Like it was something ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. And he finished what? 1, 2, 3. He finished sixth rather in the at the end of stage 1. So for cover that for what it's worth, it just didn't pan out.
It was one of those guys that just was wrong place, wrong time, got caught up in the wreck.
Strategy call got him caught up in the back, and it was
I had Stuart Friesen over Parker Kligerman. This was the right call. Kligerman, again, not a great day, a 22nd place finish. Unfortunately, Friesen got caught up in it early, ends up in 32nd. I think he was in that same wreck as Austin Hill, actually. Got backed into the wall pretty hard. And that's what forced the bet to not cash. But had they ran the race out, I have no doubt in my mind, Friesen was 9th at the end of stage 1, 2nd at the end of stage 2. So no doubt in my mind, Friesen would have beat Kligerman. Kligerman, again, another not great week. I mean, 22nd, easily his best finish of the Truck Series season. Because I don't think he'd finished better than 34th before this weekend. But just unfortunate that Kligerman, or that Friesen rather, got caught up in that early truck wreck.
Yeah, that was the big one. That caught up the 1, the 7, the 52, the 38, the 88, the 41, the 75, the 42, the double, or the 02, the 45. A
lot of big hitters in there, and that hurt your next bet too.
Yeah. So what was that one like, John? Were you there for that big one at the trucks? Obviously you were there, but
so did you say is this the one with the 52 in it?
Yeah, this is the one with the
Season
in it.
There was a lot of upset people. You could tell that a lot of the different it's not like normally when you have a wreck, you're really excited that somebody made it through, or there was a lot not deflated, but definitely people were. I know Friesen was pissed. I remember walking past the big jumbo, and it was just quiet enough the cars weren't in front of us, and he was just, I forget who was blocking him, but he really let him have it, that he thought the whole reason was that he was blocking him for 7 laps, and he just needed to get the hell out of his way, and look where he is now. Like, look what it is. I do remember Friesen was not a happy camper.
Well, Zane Smith was not a happy camper either. He led 19 laps of this race. In fact, he won stage 1. He won stage 2. Then he got wrecked. Again, this is all the strategy, man. Strategy plays a huge part in this thing. And if you pick the wrong side of it, this is what happens.
And we saw that with Logano, right? He stayed out stage 1 in the Cup race, ends up mid-pack, and boom, he gets swept up when there's a wreck. So that strategy, especially at a track like Pocono, really will kill you. Rod, we like to make sure that you get bets all up and down the board. We want to make sure you're looking all the way up and down the leaderboard. And we like to say a lot of times they're so good on these head-to-heads, they end up predicting guys finishing back-to-back. So for my next matchup, let's scroll all the way down to 35th and 36th, where luckily Jake Garcia outlasted Tanner Gray and cashed this head-to-head for me. Both of these guys, though, were actually impressive on the weekend. Garcia ends up starting in 2nd place. Gray was 13th, but he was 2nd fastest to Kyle Busch in practice. So it looked like this was shaping up to be a really good matchup. And then obviously they both just got taken out early. Luckily, I don't know. I would assume the same wreck. I didn't see that part of it. But glad Garcia outlasted Gray just enough to finish 1 spot ahead of him and cash this head-to-head for me.
No, unfortunately, Gray's day ended 3 laps into it when he got into it with the 16 of Ankrum, and that was part of the reason why Ankrum didn't have a good rest of the day, is because those 2 cars got into it at the beginning, and that was it.
I'll tell you this: that day was crazy because I don't know if you guys knew, because it's not like you really bet on ARCA or anything, but the ARCA race was supposed to be Friday, and it got rained out or thunderstorm, so they moved that to Saturday morning. So you had ARCA. You had truck, you had Xfinity, you had Cup practice, Cup qualifying, both there. I mean, it was so like when you said, do you remember like how was that wreck? And I'm like, that day is such a long day. That was such a blur. One thing I did just
and that ARCA race was what 8:30 in the morning or something. I mean,
it was. I think they started that before I got there. It was that wasn't gonna happen. All the points. Who's the points leader in Xfinity? I can't remember right now.
It's still John Hunter. I'm pretty sure.
So, almost all the points leaders in those 4 series, including ARCA, didn't do too high.
And even over in IndyCar,
battle, I didn't realize Frankie Muniz was actually in the points battle in ARCA.
He's up there.
And he dropped 3 spots because I remember in the interview after he was like, this is like, they asked him the difference between acting and racing. And he's like, I never left acting. I remember him saying, I forget who was interviewing him. It could have been your friends. He was like, acting, I always left and I did a good job. Like, I'm leaving this track. I'm pissed. Like, I never left an acting gig.
You lose more than you win in racing, unfortunately. And it's, But yes, some huge shakeups in points just in general this weekend. Heim did extend his lead in Xfinity or trucks, but yeah, John Hunter's lead got cut big time in by Austin Hill's only 13 points out now. Those are critical bonus points to win that championship. Truex is still the leader over in the Cup Series, but over in IndyCar even, we saw it there. Newgarden picking up 2 wins. He was second. Palou ended up on the podium in the second race, but didn't do great in the first race.
Still
lost
80
a lot of
points
ground.
now.
He's still gonna win, but shake it up a little bit at least.
And if it was your friends that were interviewing the Malcolm in the middle there, Mr. Muniz, if they were the ones that asked him or said, hey, we really liked you in Agent Cody Banks, they are forever my favorite person, because that made me smile so much that they started an actual interview question with, hey, I really liked you in Agent Cody Banks. They didn't go for Malcolm in the middle. They I was cackling.
Well, I mean, what a great name, first of all.
Yeah.
And
You know what else is a great name? Christian Eckes. Why? Because he wins us money. I had Christian Eckes over Nick Sanchez -110. I was scared for a second when Sanchez started on the pole. I thought, here we go. This is not going to cash. But fortunately for us, Christian Eckes started. So you can't have two polar opposites of where they started. Sanchez starts on the pole, and then it was Christian Eckes starting in 35th, dead last on the grid. He found his way up to a 7th place finish to Christian Eckes. And listen, at no point in this race was Christian Eckes even supposed to be up inside the top 10. But fortunately, he played the strategy card right, made it up there. Sanchez, on the other hand, did not. He did lead 7 laps in this and did not finish well. He finished in 19th. So Eckes over Sanchez cashes. Thank God.
Yeah, good call by you. You also had the winning car under 41.5. Rod, you missed one finally. Bound to happen eventually, but this was just a hope Kyle Busch doesn't get it done. 2nd and 3rd place, both under this number. Shout out to my boy Taylor Gray, coming home in 3rd place. He had a good run. Love to see that. And then outrights, I had Hocevar 12-1. We talked about that. Heim 11-1. One corner away. The second time I have lost a winning bet at Pocono in the 3rd and final corner.
I did think of you right when that happened. If that makes you feel any
better,
I
makes me
stopped
feel
in my
great.
tracks walking around.
So much better.
And I was just
now.
literally, my feet stopped. So just imagine and picture this, just stopped, heels hitting the ground. I kind of did that little pondering look up, and I was like,
little thought bubble comes up. It's just a picture of me.
Cody's
sad.
probably pissed right now.
I'm throwing shit in the media.
Yeah.
I was
And
in the
then I
media
was
center watching on my
I-
phone, and I'm like holding my breath. I'm like, oh, hold him up. And then Kyle Busch just goes, I'm like, I think I sighed really loud. I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like it was such a great move. I couldn't even, that was the worst part. Like I couldn't even be mad because it was such just such beautiful racecraft.
Yeah.
How Kyle Busch went around them.
And then I got mad for a second. After I was like, oh, Cody's mad. I was like, I should be mad too. But then I was like, oh, I don't have underdog prop picks, so I don't care, because that was just something I would have did if it was legal in my state. So,
yeah.
sorry.
So
You did miss that one. But
I had Busch to win the Cup and the trucks. Obviously, he completed the truck side of that. Came nowhere near in the Cup side. So
yeah. And going back to -150 is not for me. This was another way where you got that bigger number going into Sunday because you hit on him in the trucks. And again, very much exactly the same way we played John Hunter last week. It didn't feel good taking, because Busch was what, +150. It
Plus
didn't feel
200.
good taking it. Yeah, somewhere in that range, but didn't feel good taking it. But you turn it into a parlay. You make it a +1650. Makes it so much better. And I still don't think that betting on Busch at +150, +200, whatever, probably wasn't that great of a move. I mean, he wasn't up front. He wasn't leading laps until the last corner. It would have cashed, obviously. And if you had it, congrats to you. But I don't think that was necessarily the proper strategy. Again, with the fact that he had only won 2 of the last 10 truck races, 3 of 11 now, I get it. But I think that this was the way to do it. Obviously, it didn't pan out in the Cup race, unfortunately, but that's how it'll go sometimes.
Indeed. All right. Well, let's collect some closing thoughts from the weekend. John, is this something you would like to do again? We need to fly you out on the company dime to another track. Is that in the cards?
Yeah,
Shit, fly him out. He lives within like rocks throwing distance of like 10 tracks.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Damn
to Cody.
East Coasters.
There is a lot of tracks on the East Coast. I didn't really realize it until I thought about that. I wrote some thoughts down as you guys were talking about the truck race, since I didn't really bet on that one. I definitely want to go to Talladega, though, for the record. If we're just talking about like company dime and everything, like
that's where we need to meet up at like a Talladega type of race where it's especially where we can hit, where we can sweat out them big number bets. Oh yeah.
Or I'd go. Super Speedway has to happen. Yeah, sooner than later.
Vegas has to happen.
Yeah, you let me know when you like. I wrote a couple notes here. My final thoughts of what I've taken away from the weekend.
Take it away, Gindy.
All right, here we go. Cody said something, catching up with people. You know, he got to catch up with the marks. I got to catch up with some friends that I went to school with that I haven't seen in a while, friends that I worked with. I really think like we could talk gambling, we could talk strategy, we could talk Denny Hamlin if he put so-and-so in the wall. But really, like racing, what makes it stand out more than any other sports is the catching up with the friends, the memories. So that's takeaway number one. Number two, I accidentally got corralled with the drivers on driver intro, and getting to walk through all those yelling, screaming people. I don't know how they do that and then get in a car and goes like, I was so on edge, and I am absolutely nobody. Like, it was one of the craziest. I just felt like the walls were crushing in on me. And I have so much more of a respect just as what they have to deal with as race car drivers that have nothing to do with racing cars, because I saw it a lot, and I've been around it, but that one experience.
It's crazy because they're literally down there having conversations with fans that are allowed on the things. There's a lot of sponsors down there. So, whoever's in town from the sponsor, and they have to sit there and have a conversation. And then 5 minutes later, they're strapped into the car about to go 180 miles an hour at the end of Pocono, at the end of that long straightaway, and racing these cars. Like, that is absolutely incredible.
Pit crews. I tweeted a little bit about it, but there was like a lull where I was just walking around on the grid. The drivers weren't out yet, and they were out getting ready. And I was walking around and just being the interesting person. I just started asking them questions, like different things that I didn't understand. I knew a lot went into it, but I watched a guy like polish the freaking hubs of the wheel and then take a blower and blow the dirt off. And then so everybody watching, imagine a tire that it's in rectangles and triangles on the rim. Some of them tape where they're going to try to grab. Like, imagine not only just trying to get a tire off, but now you have a point where you want to aim, and other ones tape it differently. Some of them don't tape it at all. Who's smaller? Gindy, who's smaller? Larson, Reddick, Gibbs, or
it's got to be Gibbs. Reddick is pretty small.
No,
I'm small, but Gibbs is even smaller.
Without seeing them next to each other, I actually think. I mean, Reddick is.
Reddick is. Really,
I'm like
Reddick is a
5'8" on a good day, and I'm taller than him.
Oh, I'm just about as tall as him. In fact,
and you're like what? 4?
I'm 5'3".
Oh, okay.
Holy junk! I'm not a lollipop kid, for God's sake.
I mean, all guys pretty small. Like, I would say Larson might be the tallest out of all of them.
Yeah, Larson's actually not. He's a small guy. Like,
we're about the same size too.
He's not very heavy or anything, but he's not super short. Like, Reddick is so short you like double take and thought like a kid was wearing his uniform. Like, it's pretty fun.
So I think it'd be cool too. We should get you guys, if not we, just because I'm honorary member here, but y'all should get a pit crew on, or like a guy, like a tire changer, even just for like 10 minutes, and let them. Where I was talking to him about, because I went to school for kinesiology, exercise science. We were talking nutrition and like what those guys do in the course of the week and the training. Like, I know we think it's a lot, but then you actually get it broken down, and I'm like, they're like athletes. They're big guys too. Let me tell you, we're talking about small guys. Those guys are big boys and gals.
Yeah.
And then my final two takeaways, so I don't take up too much time. I got some people from my first experience in the terms of media that just made it absolutely phenomenal. It was the people that I was sitting next to, just I could ask quick questions to, and just they were really interested in gambling. So that made it fun. So shout out SGPN because it kind of brings everybody together. We exchange information. And if I've learned one thing in NASCAR, you always shout out the people that take care of you. So Shane from Underground Sports was the guy that got stuck next to me, and I felt bad for him, but we were having a good time. Brett Alper and Gianna Galley from Eyewitness News. You guys want to talk about people that hustle? Like, we might think we work hard. News people, or Rod, your journal, they were grinding and running with those big cameras. And across from me, I had another camera guy from Elmira, New York, in Kyle Nuss. And I don't know how they lug those damn cameras around. It was so hot up there too.
And they've got deadlines. They've got to file their stuff by deadlines. So when the press conferences are going on, they're already typing the articles and including what they're hearing. And I can't even tie my shoes and chew gum half the time at the same time. And they had, I was like kind of watching too. Like, they would have their Twitter open. They're throwing quick tweets out, writing their article, doing all this. Yeah. And then they're already done before I even had my bag packed up. And I'm like, what is like, And then I think the biggest takeaway, we've talked about it, right? We just talked an hour, 20 minutes. We talked gambling. We talked everything that happened. So I think give credit where it's due. A lot of people hate on Pocono. I have a soft spot because I grew up there. I'll never understand it. It was a great weekend for all racing. So I'll get on my soapbox because Denny talked about it in his presser too, just about the families. So you have a family-owned track, the Igdalskis and the Mattiolis, and Nick and Ben are in charge. And just the thought that they put into as promoters, they killed it this weekend. I haven't been back for a couple of years, and it was hands down the most fun I've ever had at Pocono or any Cup track I've been out. And then just the people that make it happen, I think that, unfortunately, they don't get the credit. I have two good friends in JJ and Eric who do partnership sales. Seeing, you want to talk about just running everywhere, working with all their partners, signage. One of my dad's friends, Roger, he was putting signs up 10, 30, 11 o'clock at night. The sales guys were helping him because if something gets hit on a Saturday, they got to repaint it so it looks good on Sunday. And I don't think people know that. And the final shout outs go to, there's two gals who were the mascot that weekend that were trading in and off in Kenny and TK, who are also friends. I would never get in a mascot suit for a minute, let alone for a whole weekend. And final shout out is my friend Kevin Teal. He does the PR for the track. I did PR by taking pictures this weekend and was so overwhelmed. He does PR for a whole track. I ran into him a couple times over a weekend, and each time I saw him, I kept saying, like, I don't know how you do this. You're insane. I'm just taking pictures for fun, just like having a little fun with the listeners. The amount of people that you interact with compared to what is crazy. And like, you can't even tweet like Pocono, I am inside you. I can at least do that. Like, you have to be serious. So that's my soapbox. We can talk about everything, but people make this sport work. And I felt like that was my biggest takeaway, is like, let's give them some credit instead of critiquing Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson. Who gives a shit at the end of the day? It was still fun, and we're all talking about it. So
yeah,
I agree.
Love it. Yeah,
I agree.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, I feel like that's a fine way. Obviously, Cody, we're gonna ask the bosses again for another Indy episode. So we'll get your full Indy experience on that one, because we did really well in that series. So we're gonna recap that and have some fun with that. I think we've earned ourselves an Indy episode this week again, don't you?
Yeah, I think that we'll have to send that message. And man, from the way everybody who listened to that, downloaded it, thank you. I mean, numbers, the F1 Gambling Podcast has been really stepping up lately. I know that's a lot of people that listen to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast as well. So we appreciate it.
Skip over it. So that's why you guys don't.
We fucking
who won?
Killed it.
F1 DraftKings got this week.
That was me, actually.
I know.
Okay.
I got pressured.
I almost like had to double check and be like,
I know.
Wow,
I got pressured when I was on y'all last week. Oh, you always do the same lineup. So you know what? I did a different one this week.
Well, I thought it was so
and you
weird.
beat me by 3 damn points doing the lineup that I normally do. And I was
McLaren. Yeah, I know. I was trying to go the
besides
Indy
myself.
strategy, and it worked.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. Yeah. So
yeah,
we'll talk
tune
about
into that. We'll have an Indy recap at some point, and I can talk more about my time at that track, which was a lot of fun.
All right. Well, then let's put this one to bed, and we will turn our attention to Richmond for this week, and we will have all three. No, it's the 2 series, right?
So Xfinity's at Road America.
Yeah.
In
2 series at
Wisconsin.
Richmond. The other one's
Truck and Cup are at Richmond. So we'll be back with a full slate of shows this week.
Yes, we will.
And F1, we got I think it's the Dutch Grand Prix this week.
Yep.
And then
I can only imagine who's going to win that one.
The homeboy. All right. So as we wrap it up, John, I'll toss it to you since you're the guest. Let everybody know where they can find you on social media and all of your work.
Yeah, you can find me at Indiana Jones. I'm probably going to try to get more active on Twitter. I'm active enough, in my opinion, but I had a lot of fun doing it this weekend, so I'm going to try, I guess, to be glued to my phone a little bit more because I'm known to just leave my phone sitting around for like 8 hours. So you can find me on SGPN writing articles about the NFL, filling in on the WNBA podcast, hopefully writing a WNBA article soon. And in the Discord, I'm probably the most active in NASCAR and F1, I would say. You could find me at the Gindy 500. I think, yeah, that's all. Thank you all so much, too, to people who listened, because it gave me this opportunity. And, again, I'll bookend it. It was said in the beginning, core memory. So
beautiful.
Love it. Yeah, thanks.
Next Pixar movie.
Yeah. Thanks so much for all the pictures, videos, everything. It was fun to follow on Twitter all weekend. I wasn't able to watch a lot of the stuff on TV because I was obviously at Iowa, but being able to follow along and see everything that was going on was pretty awesome. So appreciate it. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for covering all that. You can find me at Husker_Zeeb. All my work's over there. Got NFL stuff coming out. We're getting close to the NFL season. Obviously, we've got all the racing things going on. Whatever they'll let me do, I'll do it. So follow me over there. And then make sure you're following the show accounts as well at NASCAR Gambling. That's where you can go back and look at all the stuff that John tweeted this week. At F1 Gambling, at F1 boy, let me try this again.
Buddy?
At F1 Gambling Pod. You just go back, cut that out, Rod.
Oh, yeah.
At F1 Gambling Pod. That's it. I tweeted out stuff from there. I tweeted out stuff from my account, from the NASCAR account. Mix it up. So you got to go follow all three. But yeah, man, this was great. A lot of fun. Thanks for joining us.
And if it makes you feel better now that, we get along, kind of like we have this, we're getting there. We're building blocks into this relationship. I made a mistake this week and I signed to check the start finish line and I just put at SGPN and I was like, so I had to and it, how hard it is to write on blacktop. If people don't know, it's very hard to do with a sharp. So I had to rewrite it to get the picture that I put up.
Well, so it was good. It was a nice picture. Good.
So you're not the only one messing up.
I love it. All right. Follow me on X at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio to everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's in between media, the back road. Seth and Elliot will be talking all about Pocono on there. Catch me on Fast Money for frequency's sake. Put that out, a couple extra bets to end the week. And then still doing women's soccer. So catch
women's soccer. Follow Rod.
Follow me for all and fade me on all of those bets. I love it.
I'm following you. You're hitting this time.
Come at me, comment section.
You should have cashed on that Rodman one, by the way. Yikes.
I'm pissed about that one. But, all right. Anyways, we'll see you guys tomorrow. We're going to break down Richmond for you from the Cup Series, the Cookout 400. We love you all. Till then, let's go racing and let it ride.